Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host, and welcome to the Lone Doctrine. I am your weekly dose of constructive food for thought. Each week, I come to you and share food for thought. And if you didn't know, there's much more than what you're hearing now. In fact, there's a way to open up the full series. All you have to do is become a patron and support our cause, which comes with all kinds of goodies. Visit lonedoctrine.com today to learn more. I'd like to talk about avoidance as we wrap up the week on our thoughts on how to cope with failure, mistakes, and rewire the mind into my motto of failing fast. Check out this food for thought and more food for thought at zenhabits.net. The face everything technique. Why avoiding difficulties doesn't work. We are, all of us, amazing at avoiding things. Our minds are less thinking machines than they are avoiding machines. And the incredible thing is that we aren't even usually aware that we're avoiding thinking about something. I'll give you a few examples. Right now, you're listening to this podcast, but probably avoiding the difficult thing you don't want to think about. We are constantly checking messages, news, feeds, notifications to avoid doing something we don't want to face. When we're facing difficulties in life, we try to tell ourselves that it's okay because fill in the blank, or we get busy with some activity or a numbing agent so we don't have to face the difficulties. When a problem comes up, our reaction is to want to go do something else, to put it off. We put off paying bills, doing taxes, dealing with long emails, dealing with clutter, because we don't want to face these difficulties. In fact, there are thousands of more examples every day that come up and we don't even notice because our minds switch to thinking about something else. Try this right now. Pause for a minute and think about what difficulty you're avoiding thinking about right now. I'll give you a second, or two, or three. You will either notice a difficulty you don't like, or your mind will quickly turn to doing something else before this 3 seconds are up. Try it again. What you've done is part of what I like to call the face everything technique, which I'll explain in a minute after we talk about why avoiding everything is an ineffective strategy. Avoidance doesn't work. Our minds want to run from whatever discomfort, pain, difficulty we're facing. And this is a good method for temporarily not having to deal with difficulty and pain. So in the present moment, we might feel some temporary relief. But what it does is regulate us to a life of running, a life of distraction, and never facing what ails us. We keep ourselves busy, but never learn to deal with what's inside us, what's in front of us. This means we are at the mercy of our fears, of our discomforts. We are like little children who don't want to do any hard work, but want the latest shiny fun thing. This results in not working on the important work, or at least putting it off until it starts to get painful. The same is true of exercise, healthy eating, finances, clutter, relationships, and more. In the end, we usually have to deal with these things, but they've just gotten worse. It would have been better to face them early on when they weren't such a big deal. So try the face everything technique. This technique is based on the idea that it's better to be aware of things instead of running. And if we do, none of it is that big of a deal. Here's how it works. Create awareness by asking, what am I doing right now? Throughout the day, set reminders or put little notes that remind you to ask, what am I doing right now? The answer might be checking Facebook or switching to a new browser tab or eating some chips. It might be something simple like that, but just ask yourself what you're doing. This will start to bring awareness. Next, ask yourself, what am I avoiding? When things get difficult or uncomfortable, we automatically switch to something else. We run, we avoid like crazy. You're doing it all day long, but not realizing it. Ask what you're avoiding. Some fear, some difficult task, some difficult emotion, some discomfort, or just staying present in the current moment. Name what you're avoiding. Now, face it. Just stay with this fear, with the discomfort, with the difficulty in this present moment. Not your story about it that you're telling yourself in your head, but the actual physical feeling in your body in the present moment. How bad is it? Stay with it for a little longer, and a little longer after that. Challenge yourself, and you'll keep continually seeing that it might not be as big of a deal as you thought. Now that you've faced it and have seen that it's not as big a deal as you thought, you can now continue to move forward. You can decide what's the best action. If you're afraid of doing a task, but you face it, it gives you the practice of conquering fear. You can remind yourself that the task will benefit you and others and is much more important than the fear. If you're avoiding a difficult conversation with someone because you're angry, you can see that anger and offense is not such a big deal, and you can talk to the person calmly and appropriately, with empathy and compassion, and figure out a solution. Of course, not all problems will just evaporate using this method, but I can tell you that you'll be able to face many more things as you practice this method. You'll get better at dealing with discomfort instead of running from it as most people do. You'll get better at not procrastinating and doing uncomfortable tasks. You'll be more present and more willing to stay in the moment rather than needing distractions all the time. Not overnight, but with practice. Practice creating a lifestyle around betterment. This will give you more than you could imagine, but you might have just listened to all of this and want to avoid most of it. There's all the more reason to go for it. Step outside your comfort zone. That's where the true growth and success lies. The question is, are you willing to take the leap of faith and truly make your life what it's meant to be and what you deserve it to be? We only have one life. Time is of the essence, and tomorrow is never promised. So today and every day, keep fighting the good fight.